ridiculous. All right.
Has it begun?
Live. All right, I'm going to do some, what do you call it? I'm going to do some housekeeping stuff. I'm going to like share this.
Oh, I thought you meant like actual housekeeping. I was like, let's not. Maybe not a good time to.
Yeah, I would probably wait. Let me. Oh. Excuse
Bless
me.
you. What the? I know I was looking at PBS. I see that the Democrats have gained a decent chunk, flipped some house seats.
Yeah, definitely. Because there was, so I did that. Okay, so I just tweeted it at the world. So there was a little bit of a panic attack I had because I've been looking at the main resources I've been using tonight have been Twitter and 538. So 538 has a live. They have a what do you want to call it? It's a live model. So it changes. It like tells you percentages of Democrats controlling the House or Republicans versus the Senate
cool.
as results come in. And it started the night basically the same stats they were giving, when
yesterday. Yeah,
exactly. And then the House like took a nosedive, and it was like 2/3 chance of Republicans controlling the House, and everyone was freaking out.
Yeah,
but it was really just, if you look at the underlying numbers, it doesn't really make any sense. Because they break it down by. I'm actually looking at it right now. Oh wow. So it looks like the House is really, the chances for Democrats have really skyrocketed now. I'm actually going to, one of the things I can do with this is show people with this screen dealy. So this is going to pop up for a second, and no one's going to see us. I don't know. Are you seeing this on your end?
I am seeing it. Yes.
Okay, cool. So if you can look on the right now, Democrats have a 91.8% chance, 11 and 12 chance of taking the House. It's funny. You can see the below the numbers. You can see. I wish I could like draw on this, but you see that like rectangle.
Yeah.
You see how it's currently now where it was. Like, I don't know, like 3 hours ago. And you could see this red uphill that happened just all of a sudden. And apparently they made, looking at the underlying numbers about what Democrats were winning versus Republicans, it didn't really make any sense. Like, why is it up? And see, now just it changed.
That was the Senate. Yeah.
Okay. So the Senate looks like
pretty much done.
Yeah. So I'm actually gonna scroll down a little bit. I think this is the hardest Democrat Senate election in almost 100 years. So
yeah.
Because I think if I'm doing the math right, I believe there are something like 25-ish roughly Democrats, Democratic senators who are not up for election, but there's 43 Republicans. So in order for Republicans have to get to 50 because Pence would break a tie. So in order for the Republicans to maintain control of the Senate, all they have to do is win 7 seats. That's all they have to do. And as you can see, they've won 5.
Yeah.
So they win 2 more, and that's game over for the Senate.
Yeah.
So even though you see all these Democratic wins, they're starting from the Democrats had to win like 15 versus 7.
Right. Which we'll see where Nevada. I know Nevada just closed Rosen.
Yep.
So that'll be coming.
That is one of these, if I'm not mistaken. This is actually this one right here, which right now they're giving Heller only a 38% chance of winning the Nevada Senate race.
Very good.
So I've been looking at the Texas Senate race. I think everybody has been looking at that. And that has been, it's one of those things where it's, I tell myself, I know for a fact that's not happening.
That's not gonna hold.
But it's been, I'm actually, while I'm here, let me pull this up and see. Okay, so right now, this is, according to AP, 15% reporting. Ted Cruz is currently in the lead. It's not by much. And again, I can throw this up here real quick.
Big fan of Canadians. If you go for Ted Cruz,
Canadians who are the sons
Canadian votes,
president murderers.
Yes,
that's I forgot about that.
Yeah. People don't realize.
They don't realize. It's really sad. But you can see here right now, Ted Cruz 50.4%, Beto O'Rourke 49%. Pretty close.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the governor's election was actually called really early. I assume that with the Senate election and the governor's election, the precincts reporting in are the same. I assume you wouldn't have precincts, you wouldn't have election results from different precincts for the governor election than for the Senate election. That's my assumption. And yet the numbers aren't the same. The race for Senate is much closer than the race for governor. In fact, the race for governor has been called, I think, like an hour ago, if I'm not mistaken. So I can actually pull that up real quick just to compare. So again, right now it's 50.4 to 48.9. I'm just going to say 50 to 48, give or take. Whereas I'll pull this up. Whereas, this is the governor's. Again, this is AP still 54.9 to 43.5. So very different results. I'm not sure. Based on my understanding of what this means, that would mean that there's some, ticket splitting here. People voting for both Greg Abbott and voting for Beto O'Rourke would be my guess as to how this happens. Again, I guess another possibility is that there are different precincts reporting for those races.
Yeah.
Be happening. I'm not really sure about the dynamics of that per se. So I don't know. But, it's one of the fun ones to watch to see, how that's going. And so I'm going to kind of just take a look. Yeah, so the House has really kind of gone back to where it was. It's kind of gone to status quo. But really, the main thing I've been looking at to kind of keep my sanity here, and actually, so I think I can see part of why perhaps the odds have changed so much. Because I mean, literally, that's I want to say about a half an hour ago is when that changed. So this is what I've been looking at. So you see the House seats on the right-hand side, towards the middle, and they break it down by solid, likely, lean. So in order to, you have to get, I think, 218. You have to win 218 seats to get a majority. And if all these solids, likelies, and leans, if the Democrats win all of those, hypothetically, that's a majority. That's a majority with 5 to spare. But now you see, so far, they've also won one of the toss-ups.
Right.
You also see they've won a likely R. Which
I see that. Yeah. Or was that?
That's a good question. Let me see if I can figure out which one that is. Will this make it easy to tell me? My guess is it's this Virginia 2. So actually, no, it's probably this. It might be this New York 11. It's kind of, yeah. So I'm going to guess if you see all these little squares, basically the more to the right it is, the more likely it is to be Republican. And so I think it's this rightmost square right here, which is New York. That's New York 11. And then it looks like the toss-up was Virginia 2.
Wow.
I mean, so again, that's a big deal. So again, in order for the Democrats to win, they just have to get this column. They would get, if I did my math correctly, which I think I did, they just have to. I don't know. I actually have no idea.
Right?
What's that?
So it was 218.
Yeah, and so if they win all that, they would get 223.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and so the one thing I've been seeing is the kind of some of the speculation is how California is going to be really important, and so their polls close in about 50 minutes or so, because there's lots of suburban districts. That's kind of one of the stories is suburban districts breaking for Democrats.
Yeah.
Kind of Romney people, basically. Yeah. So there's suggestions. I mean, so this is kind of what you're seeing in New York, because the kind of best case scenario was Democrats literally winning every New York seat, even though parts of upstate New York, for example, are generally kind of suburban-y red seats. And there's also hope that, for example, places like Orange County, for example, in California, they would win the same thing as well. But again, we have 50 or so minutes to figure out if that's happening.
Yes.
So speaking of Nevada, both of my home state, your current state. Let's see here. I'm going to stop that for now. Let me see if I can pull up some, in particular, the Senate. Yeah, there's nothing yet. The polls have closed in Nevada, if I'm not mistaken, but there's just no results yet. So we'll just have to wait for that. I've also been following. What was that?
I was going to say, how were the lines for you this morning when you went at 7?
There was, the babiest of a line. I don't even know if a line is really accurate.
Say there were babies in the line? That's bullshit.
I don't know if there might be babies in the line.
Oh, okay.
So we have results for me in Michigan. So I was actually a little late relative to what I was planning on. If you can imagine, I actually overslept a little bit. So this is the current, kind of expected Michigan breakdown right now with 31% reporting. Debbie Stabenow with 50.8%, and John Swastika in the high school James with 47.1%. Have you heard this story by any chance?
No. And so many, I've gotten lost with these. But yes, what's the story?
So, one, let's be clear. John James, being an African American, probably is not a Nazi. That's my assumption.
Probably, yeah.
So, I think the story is actually weirder. So basically, he had a campaign ad, and one of the pictures, one of the scenes, is a kind of like typical high school hallway. And what people noticed is that on the side, there's like a bulletin board on the sides of the halls in this shot, and there's a swastika on there, like a straight up like Nazi flag. The swastika in the white circle,
yeah,
on a red background. Somebody, basically some campaign staffer, they said like, look, just grab some, or some production company that they hired, like, just grab some high school scene. And just throw it in here, and they just didn't notice the swastika. it's pretty. It's not
pretty random. Yeah, but
no, I don't know if I would have noticed. But for me, the real story is like, why? Like, what is this a shot from? I was really wanted to know, like, why? Like, who? Because I mean, that's got to be on purpose.
yeah.
Is it from maybe it's a deleted scene from the Man in the High Castle? I really have no idea. But yeah, it was like I mean, to call it a scandal is a bit extreme. I'm actually checking something really quickly.
Our YouTube is none they're called ordinary.
That is true. I shared on the Twitter a direct. I have a direct link to this particular stream. But I think if you just go, if you just search "None Dare Call It Ordinary" on YouTube, it'll pop right up. Yeah, it's showing we've got 2 viewers. I wish there was a way to communicate with them, but I do not know.
You can turn the chat on.
Let me see. Because there's a chat
right.
What's that now?
If you look to the left of the Google Hangouts, there's a chat button.
Yeah, but that's internal, actually. That's just for us.
Okay, that sucks.
Yeah, so we can, if we want to. So, yeah, I don't know exactly how it works. But, yeah, that's fine for now. I'm sure that's, if we do something like this in the future, it's something I'm going to figure out. It's actually something I want to start doing is going to start doing the edits for the podcast episodes live on YouTube. I got the idea from James A. Janice. He has the Dead Meat YouTube channel. I don't know if you're familiar with him. The main thing I know him from is he has a YouTube series called Kill Counts, where he basically counts up the kills in horror movies and offers.
Yeah.
And he actually when he's editing those episodes, he does it live. And I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. So I'm going to start doing that. So next week or so, when after we've recorded the last Russia investigation episode, we're finally done with that.
It'll finally be wrapped up, and it'll be good.
All right, I'm actually getting word that.
Yes, I see. Who's this Kelsey? Yeah, there's a top chat. We got a top chat going here.
Where are you seeing it?
If you go to the YouTube channel.
Oh, so I actually have to.
We got a top chat going here.
Where are you seeing it?
If you go to the YouTube channel.
Okay, so okay. So now, it's a little schizophrenic because now I can see myself. Cool. Hello, this person. I can see you talking to us now. I don't know how to. I guess there's really no reason for us to, because we have the words.
Yeah, that are coming from our mouth.
Yeah, we have the mouth words, so we could just send them out. I know there's a way to actually do that, but again, this is literally the first time we've ever done this. This is first time we've gnashed our teeth live with the viewers, counting these election results. And speaking of which, let's go to those. Let's see what's happening. Oh, so much happening.
Is a teeth gnash worthy, or?
I'm about to find out. So it's kind of the same as it's been. Now you have to call in Texas. So literally now, this is kind of expected. I don't know if it's worth gnashing our teeth over, but it's expected. So officially, there is a 0% chance of Democrats taking over the Senate. As you can see, so they're calling Texas for.
So you're saying there's still a chance.
There's still a chance. It just happens to be 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah. So currently, right now the breakdown would be best case scenario 51-49.
Okay.
If again, that's assuming Democrats win every other Senate seat. So kind of expected, I think. But it looks like the House is kind of back on track to be a Democratic House. Right now, they're projecting 33. And this is 33 gains from where they are now. So it's a little, this doesn't mean my understanding. Well, see, now I'm actually not so sure now that I say that. I could be wrong about that. Again, going down here. So if you can see, so not only are the what's that?
So 2 toss-ups.
Yep. So they've won 2 toss-ups so far. So again, they're on track, and that likely our win, which again is New York. That would be this New York 11. And so it looks like the toss-up that was won was Texas 32. Let's see here. Nice. So I know someone in the audience is very closely following the Michigan results, in particular the Michigan governor results. Our current governor, kind of a dickhead, so we're not big fans of Mr. Snyder. He's done a lot of harm for this community, but we can see right now 33% of precincts reporting in, and Gretchen Whitmer is looking good, 53% to 44.1%. Kind of, again, expected. Nothing really fascinating here. Also, a cool thing about, again, an expected thing, but a cool thing nonetheless, is that my House district is now currently the first. We have the first female. Let me find it before I. Here we go. We now have the first female Muslim representative.
Cool.
Which is cool. Expected, but cool. Again, like this is
only won by 91%.
Only 91%. And if you notice, her 2 opponents are a Green for the Green Party and the Working Class Party. This is Detroit's congressional district after all. This is kind of the expected results. So that's pretty cool. There's actually an interesting, I don't know if dynamic's the right word, but a kind of weird thing about, what was I going to say? There we go. A kind of strange thing about, because our former representative, John Conyers, who was, I think he was almost 90 years old, but he still had time to be an asshole in terms of sexual harassment and all that kind of fun stuff, throughout his career. And so he was Me Too'd, as they say. So for the past year, we just haven't had a representative. And instead of, holding a special election relatively recently, because, having representatives is important given, a constitutional republic and all that kind of fun stuff, they decided, we'll just wait till the end. We'll just, we'll have it the same day we have the election for the regular representative. So there was 2 primaries and 2 congressional elections for the Detroit district, which is, I think, I want to say something like 13 or 14. I have to admit, I'm not 100% sure which one it is. But the Detroit area one, where we voted both for the replacement for John Conyers and for the regular representative. And there were 2 separate primaries. Now, the replacement for John Conyers is going to serve from right now, today, till January. So 2 months. Because that's the end of.
That's what 20 times the Scaramucci.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just the remainder of Conyers' term, and then Rashida Tlaib will take over after that. I don't know why they did it that way. And what's interesting is Rashida Tlaib ran for both races. She ran for the special election to replace Conyers, and for just the regular congressional run. And she won the primary for the regular congressional election, but not for the special election, which is bizarre. Because she lost to Brenda Jones, who also ran on for the regular congressional election. So it's very bizarre. I don't know how. I don't know why that happened. It's a very strange thing. Brenda Jones is if I'm not mistaken, she's I think she's a city council person, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so that was a kind of weird part of our election shenanigans going on here.
You're on 238 live election coverage, right?
Yeah, 538.
Okay. I'm sorry, this one meant 538. So 100% chance the Republicans are going to win the Senate. Okay, well, we'll keep watching that one.
Yeah, definitely. Anything could happen.
You never know. Yeah.
Go from 0% to 0%. A different zero. There's multiple zeros. That's what people in the know don't know. There's all sorts of zeros happening.
Well, Indiana did not come through.
Yeah, that was kind of the initial upset, I think, for the evening, was Donnelly did not win in Indiana. But what are you going to do? You can only get so much.
What's Illinois doing?
It.
Let's look up my old state of Illinois.
Illinois, what is Illinois up to?
Oh.
Find out.
Yeah, do you got it? You can share it.
Let me yeah, I can see what I can find. So right now, we got their gubernatorial. It looks like Democrat Pritzker is winning with 55.7% of the vote.
What a prick.
Pritzker.
Sure.
Where
I know someone, I don't know if they're listening, but they don't like him. But too bad. He's a Democrat.
Too bad. Why don't they like him? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I haven't finished that conversation on my phone yet.
Okay.
So I don't know, but yeah, I haven't checked. Missouri, I saw was before I came up here was kind of neck and neck, I think, right? And Kansas too.
Kansas too, yeah. Missouri, yeah. So that's where my PhD school is. So let's see what's going on there. Missouri results. Ooh, yeah, neck and neck. McCaskill hanging in there.
Mama Cask.
Mama Cask, exactly. Yeah, that's neck and neck, so that's pretty close. Definitely. I mean, I think the thing with the Senate is, it's definitely better to be in control of it, but being close is still important. I mean, I think we've seen that a few times this past year. But being close can do. How sometimes it's been helpful in terms of especially with like the Obamacare votes. So definitely just because there is a 0% chance that the Senate is lost, or I mean that it's not regained, I should say. It would still be. It's still good if she wins, Claire McCaskill. I kind of had, I don't know, I had a feeling about she would be fine. Let me stop this here. Let me see what else is going on.
So
there's a question for you about your tea.
Yes.
What tea are you drinking, sir?
This would be a actually wait, is this, I thought it was chamomile, but it might not be. It was called Stress Balance. It's basically chamomile. Yeah. So it's a calming tea.
Oh, you're calming yourself.
I just want to make my gnashing of teeth a little less gnashy, like a little less revelations.
I'm going the opposite way. I'm drinking cold coffee that I made.
I'm drinking
morning,
Monster
at
Energy.
this point, I don't really remember.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at, oh, sorry.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I'm looking at District 13. So I'm like in Illinois still looking because I'm from like the Springfield area, which always usually goes Republican, but I can't tell. It looks like, did Springfield really go blue? That's crazy. I don't know. It seems to be so lead is lead. Refresh my memory on what exactly that is on the map.
When it says lead.
Yeah.
That or lean or
lead, like yeah, lead. Because I'm actually at New York Times looking at the House map for Illinois.
So different.
Yeah, I just went into New York Times, the failing New York Times.
Yeah, failing enemy of the people.
Yes.
And I'm just glad that calling them the enemy of the people, calling the mainstream media the enemy of the people has had no untoward consequences. That's
not at all.
my favorite thing about that so far. I'm actually also still no results from Nevada. I don't know if Nevada is a slower state when it comes to.
Hey, now I was joking. Yeah, when it comes to results.
Yeah, exactly. Because the polls close, doesn't mean who knows. I'm also curious what's going on. There actually might be, let's party like it's the year 2000. There might be a Florida recount.
All right. Yeah.
So Florida governor results. Let me just pull this up real quick. Yeah, that's pretty close. It's not. So there's 98%. So this is the governor's. Again, this is AP. 49.9 to 48.9. So that's a difference of, let me see. So that's, 1%, obviously, or I guess 0.5%. Looks like, let me do my math. So it's about 80,000 votes, give or take. I also can't spell governor. I'm glad to let that be known to the world. Let me look at Senate. Senate was kind of. That's looking even a little closer. Actually, let me let that be known.
Forgive me. That was me.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? Oh, I can say, okay, I just figured out.
Oh, we can put out. Hey. Very good.
Things. It's great. All right, let me. Okay, I can stop doing that. But yeah, we can see how the that's actually about. So it's about 60,000, give or take, lead that Rick Scott has over Bill Nelson. So super close. Probably going to be a recount again. If we remember those days, I remember very, very vividly going to sleep in that election with Gore winning and then waking up with W. Bush winning. So
yeah.
Nothing as exciting as that because the Senate is no longer in the balance. I really liked Gillum. From what I could tell, he seemed like a cool candidate. So I was hoping he would have won, but maybe in a recount he will. But
don't you mean a cool cat?
Oh, terrifying! Oh, it's just you. It's just a mask.
Yep, not real.
Not real. Well,
a lot of props here I'm going through. By the end of the night, there's going to be at least 15 hats put on.
I just have my
change of clothes. 6 change of clothes. Oh, I got to show my Idiocracy poster at some point. My ode to Idiocracy.
I'm at a cold, disgusting coffee. That's a sad thing. I think there's more in the. Oh, I got another mug, backup mug.
Nice.
Oh, that's even worse. That's terrible.
6 watching, guys. 6. We have a person has a question for us here.
Someone has a question. Let me see here. Reports of voter fraud. Oh, because she'd been mailed an absentee ballot. She never requested one. Interesting. No, I've mostly been following. There's been lots of stories about
Kemp, right?
About what now?
What Kemp? Well, I mean, not in Michigan, but yeah. Sorry, not to take it to another state, but
just I think Georgia was a big one.
Yeah.
Like, not so much voter fraud, but there's been lots of just kind of incompetence and like poorly managed polling situations where they just didn't have enough machines. Or, I mean, there was one case, again, I think in Georgia, which is why they, in some precincts, they didn't close the ballots until like 10 p.m. There were some where there were no like power cords for the voting machines, so they just didn't
But
work.
There were enough lanterns, so that's good.
Yeah, you need the lanterns.
Did I lose you?
Brent. Oh no, Brent. What are we gonna do?
Hello.
Are you there?
There.
Oh, we have you. Thank God.
Whew. That was a close one.
But yeah, so the answer to the question, no. The answer is no.
Okay.
Except for the general sense, which providing inadequate. So there was one case where, for example, I don't remember where, but it was a state where you don't need an ID to vote. But the polling place was located in a gated community where in order to enter the gated community, you needed an ID.
Wow.
So that, that's, something up. So we've just been alerted that, Michigan, Whitmer has won the race for governor of Michigan. So that's a flip in terms of governor. So we had Rick Snyder. Rick, don't drink the water, Snyder. So that's a good change of pace, I would have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Pensacola, what's wrong with Pensacola?
Inside jokes.
Oh, I don't know if that's an inside joke. I don't know if that's just a random meeting.
I'll send you the movie. We have a movie made. This is inside jokes. I like. Is there any other? Oh, how? So you're logged on, right? So you're the chat.
Yes, I am the official runner of this here chat. Based on the fact that I'm logged in. I don't think that's really important. I don't know if more than one person. Yeah, my parents just moved away from Pensacola. Well, technically from.
Yeah, it's a joke about Pensacola Christian College, personally, but.
Yeah, so Pensacola. Let me see. I don't know too much about there. So speaking of Florida, there was actually an interesting. There was a ballot proposal. Yeah, I agree about Beto. I'm actually curious. So all right, so I'm doing too many things at once.
Oh, you just lost? Damn.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of people who think he's just a dreamy guy, and I kind of get it. And a lot of people who want him to maybe run for president in 2020. There's been a lot of those ideas, and
plus Ted Cruz is just a strong candidate. I mean, let's just be honest.
I mean, that's true. He has the strength of will. I mean, you've seen his work
up close
in the late 60s. He had that one where he wore the mask and he like stabbed those two teenagers. I mean, he really pulled it out. He's a strong character. Yeah, I'm actually going to I'm going to do last things first, so we can all share in this fact about how. So right now, Ted Cruz 51.3 to 48.1 for Beto O'Rourke, but there's been a lot of speculation about him running for the president in 2020, and one suggestion was that the most likely situation in which he does run is one in which he loses, but by a very little bit. So on the one hand, he doesn't have the full-time job of being a senator, and so he can just focus on running, but at the same time, he can justify, his power, getting so close in Texas. The suggestion that I read was more in the 0.5%, where this is more in the 3%, 3+%. Again, this is all speculation. I don't know if that's, who knows at this point. I'm going to have to agree with Kelsey. Maybe, Beyonce. Beyonce, yeah, maybe should have posted her support sooner. That might have helped. But let me see here. I was curious about what's going on in Florida specifically. This is where my parents lived. They just moved back to Las Vegas, where Brent is actually. They actually live they live a few minutes away from Brent, which is nice when I come to visit. I honestly don't know anything about there. So Gulf Breeze got a new mayor, so that's nice for them. I'm more curious about. All right, well, I can't find that now, but there's actually an interesting. So, speaking of Florida, there was a ballot proposal that won, and it required 60% of the vote. So it's actually impressive that it won. Re-enfranchising felons to vote, which I believe is over a million.
Right, I read that.
Over a million potential new voters for 2020. So that's a good thing, I think. So yeah, really, it was known as the Restore Felon Voting Rights Act, and that won 64.39 to 35.61. And I can again put that up here. Let's see. Yeah, so that's this Restore Felon Rights Act right here. So that's people are making a really big deal about that. That will probably have a really interesting effect on future Florida elections.
What were some of your questions? Were they anything substantial for Michigan?
So there was a few things. So let me pull those up. So actually, first let me just do a general. So now it looks like it's getting more and more. It looks like the Democrats are going to be in control of the House. Let me pull this up right now. So we can see here, it looks like they're giving Democrats a 14-15 chance of winning the House. And that will be a plus 35. Again, I don't know if that means that it's 35 more seats than they have now, or if that is, I don't think it could be 35
more seats.
More than a majority. I don't think that's what that means. I think that means 35 more than they have right now. And then let me see if we can kind of scroll down here. I'm not sure what that means. So again, it looks, their situation looks basically the same. Again, they've won those two toss-ups. They've got the one likely are the kind of upset that they were able to pick up. And they're still winning all of these solids, likelies, and leans. So, again, they're kind of right on track in that regards. But now let me you were talking about, there were a few interesting kind of ballot proposals in Michigan. Let me pull those up now. Calling it for Whitmer. So here we go. So one of them is we want to join Nevada in legalizing the ganja, which is currently in the lead right now. That was ballot proposal 1. That's 57.82% to 42.18%.
And our question was, everyone has to smoke the ganja.
Yes, it's legally
Like,
required.
big government. And
If you don't, you actually get put before a firing squad. I thought it was a little extreme.
yeah,
But no, that's simply recreational.
yeah.
This 18.2, there was a lot. There was a lot of coverage of this, just in terms of pamphleting and all that kind of stuff. This was a proposal that all kind of, state, local, and federal redistricting, for congressional House seats, for example, instead of being done by by just the state House, it would actually be done by an independent commission. I'm going to put my cards on the table here. I actually voted no for this, for the simple reason that it was kind of bizarre. It's actually literally, I could be on the commission to redistrict our lines. There was actually a thing where anybody could submit an application and it's random. So it's something like, if I'm remembering the numbers right, it's something like on this commission, there'll be like 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 5 independents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally random. So as long as you're not or haven't run for elected office in Michigan, you can submit an application. And then they just randomly choose. So I kind of thought that was a bizarre mechanism personally.
Yeah, it's strange.
But it looks like many more people thought that was perfectly fine. And then Proposal 3, again, also looks like it's doing quite well. This was for automatic voter registration.
Yeah, same. We had that.
Yeah, and
for
same.
DMP. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like that's, again, doing quite well. And this kind of makes sense given all of the talk about just all of the kind of chaos and confusion about, one, active voter suppression happening, but also just, lots of kind of silly stuff going on as well. It makes sense that people would be in favor of something like this. And just to kind of round it off, so I've been following this attorney general election for Michigan the whole night. Many people might know Dana Nessel as someone who claimed that it would be very difficult for her to send a dick pic to somebody because she does not have a penis. Like, this was literally part of her messaging.
Strong message.
Yeah, strong message. That was, the message she opted for. And it looks like it's working for her, right now, 49.76 to 45.48. So not having a penis, it worked for her. Secretary of State, again, 53.52 to 43.31 for Jocelyn Benson, Democrat. So let's look here. Supreme Court. It looks like both of the incumbents are, as of right now, again, 35.8% precincts reporting in. Anything could happen. I'm kind of surprised at how many people voted for this, to be perfectly honest, because you don't have to vote for any of this stuff. On the ballot, it's very explicit. You don't have to vote for these kinds of things. But yeah, there's that. Was there any in Nevada? Were there any ballot measures you were looking at? You said you also had an automatic.
Automatic renewal. There was one with Nevada going clean energy by I'm gonna say like 2050. It's like
okay.
Down the road, but hey, it's a step in the right direction. So
yeah, it's like, I think that's good timing. I don't think Nevada should do it too soon.
Yeah.
You wait a few decades. By that time, Nevada's going to be on the beach. Nevada's going to be on the
and actually just on fire. So
yeah, and then
you will have to set yourself on fire to cool down
with the fire, and then you're on the beach. And I think perfect timing. You got to time global warming just right.
Right.
I think that should be Nevada's approach here. same thing with Arizona. Like as Bill Hicks said, we want to wait for Arizona Bay. That's really the thing that's really important to wait for.
That's right.
All right, let me just do a quick sanity.
Couple chat things here.
Oh, we got
it is Forrest and Gilbert.
Hello.
Time to hump for the winter.
I just got text from. I'm glad they're.
Huh? Oh yeah.
How are you all enjoying?
Wait, how many people? We got 8 people watching. All right.
Entire human beings.
Yes.
I hope it doesn't include us.
I hope not either.
I don't know how the statistics work for the YouTube live streaming. But yeah, I'll take up Naps. We just insulted.
Now 7. Someone's like, I am out of here.
And they're like, I'm done with this.
I've enough of this.
But also, so if
this is going to last 8 hours because that's the minimum time we have. So.
Yeah, they said maximum, but for me, it's a minimum. I fully agree with that. So I'd be curious about Gilbert and Forrest, how they are, how they're enjoying this election night gnashing of teeth.
Hello.
Oh, that's a good question. That would also be my assumption. So I think it would be the yeah. I think I would agree. Yes, I think nothing is exactly right. Which is actually, that would be kind of 3 for 3 in terms of impeachments. So far, an impeachment hasn't been successful. We got close with Andrew Johnson, I believe was the closest. I think he was one vote away from actually getting booted out of there. But yep, I agree. It's votes. I mean, that's really all there is to it, I think. I don't know, Brent, what do you think about that?
I think that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
My guess is nothing as well.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, I think
who knows what that will do, so.
Yeah, I think.
Could empower.
Yeah, I mean, I think like just look at this. I think tonight's election is just kind of proof positive that, Trump is president. I mean, these people, these senators are winning in places where, Trump, did relatively well. I mean, they're not going to, obviously, their base, the people who are voting these senators in, are into it. And the senators are not dumb, at least in this kind of purely instrumental way. They know that the people who voted him in are into Trump. And so it doesn't make any sense from a purely instrumental standpoint for them to vote to knock him out. Do I think it would sway the Senate GOP? What do you think about this, Brent? So this is a more extreme.
Sway the Senate GOP? No.
Yeah, so I mean, my understanding here is so we have videotape of Putin handing Trump a briefcase with money in it and saying, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, and he says, yes, master. Will that affect, do you think that would affect chances for, so I'm going to start by answering it after I rephrase the question. I think it has to do with who's up for election in 2020. So, I don't know if, for example, if like Susan Collins, for example, or Murkowski is up in 2020. I think Susan Collins is up in 2020, for example. So, that might be a vote that could be got into that corner. Again, I think the answer depends, is purely instrumental. Who's going to benefit? And I can see someone like a Susan Collins, maybe. Yeah, again, this is just an example, voting in favor of kicking Trump out. Doing that kind of logic in their head. But that's my guess. Again, I think it's just going to be purely instrumental.
Right. So yeah, I mean there are clearly positives about having one house, or one part of Congress to be able to be Democrat, stopping things for sure.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, I just thinking because you need both in order to do the impeach plus convict. So I think just in that regard, I think as long as you have a kind of GOP controlled Senate, I don't think it's going to happen again unless if there was some extreme kinds of if there was some kind of if there was extremely obvious evidence of something like that, maybe someone like Susan Collins would vote to do it. And then maybe if there were one or two other people who were up for election, I think it depends on who's up for election, what senators are up for election in 2020. I think it's going to depend on that.
It will be interesting to see how they handle it, though.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, how do you say there's money laundering and all these things, and Mueller comes with all this evidence, and then you see the Senate try and.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really.
I mean, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
we know how it'll go. We know how the media will go, but.
Yeah, I mean, again, I assume however it happens, I assume it's going to be based on pure kind of instrumental reasoning. It's going to be purely what will help me stay a senator. And I think for most GOP senators, defending Trump is the way to go.
Yeah, he's hugely popular in the Republican Party.
Yeah, and it's one interesting kind of fact. So with Donnelly, these kinds of things are kind of notoriously, inaccurate or unreliable. But 53% of people who voted in the Indiana election said that the fact Donnelly's vote against Kavanaugh is what decided who they voted for. And again, I mean, this is, Trump is giving us Kavanaugh. Trump is giving us, Gorsuch. So I think, again, it's hard, with the hypothetical, there's obviously, again, if there's video of Trump being handed a briefcase full of money, for example. But aside those extreme hypotheticals, I just think for most people, there's definitely the core Trump people who are nuts, but I think there's also just a lot of regular Republicans who just see him as just a regular Republican president. As insane as that is for us, and as insane as that might objectively be, I just think that's the way he's seen. He's rough around the edges, and he talks differently than other Republican presidents. But I think it's just he's a Republican president, and he gives us the judges we want, for example.
I would like the Trump from the 80s and stuff to run. That would be nice.
Trump from the 80s?
Oh, yeah, the Democratic, when he was a Democrat. New York, elite, globalist.
I just wished he wasn't president at all.
On the Truman Show way, maybe.
More popular than the rest of the party among the party. I definitely think it's right. Why did you yell chamber? Did we say the wrong word?
Chamber.
Yeah, I think when we were talking about Congress, we probably.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You're right. I know. I was like. Thank you, Gilbert. And screamed in agony when Ted Cruz won.
Why? I built that. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew it was going to happen. I was pretty sure it was going to happen, and I assumed that going in. No, it's Forrest. Yeah, it's not Gilbert. Your
I'm so
identity theft. Terrible. It was close. It was because I when the polls
yeah. What is the
opened,
final number?
it was not like it opened like I think like 60-40, which it was because I believe the first precincts were from like the Dallas area, like the more urban parts of Texas, which are going to be Democrat. I just you can get killed, or at least have a poorly built explosive device mailed to you. But that's reserved for the enemies of the people. Oh, so we have a bit of a change. This is going to be good news, at least. It looks like now it's a 100% chance of Democrats taking over the House. So that's
all right.
A positive. That's kind of, we can gnash our teeth a little less today.
I have to tell you, I have to celebrate by revealing that I am a Red Hatter. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Did you hear about the...
I can stand for a lot of things, by the way.
I assume it stands for, I'm going to...
Indict? No.
Let me take a good look at those initials here. Let me put my thinking hat on. Ignatius tells me... fibs.
Yeah, you're right. I'll take it off.
Always.
Too late.
Oh, that's...
What is it?
I believe it's impeach the motherfucker already.
Oh my God!
I said it. I did.
You revealed our stance.
Yes, until the Russian hacking machines kicked in, so those numbers might flip.
Actually, we may get hopefully more watchers then, at least. 6.
Maybe 6.
We lost another one.
It's going up and down.
I'm not texting
about it. But yeah, let's see what is going on here.
Ted Cruz, damn you.
So again, just taking a look at some of these numbers that we've been looking at. So it looks like they picked up another toss-up. Still, so yeah, so I mean, the numbers aren't very different. So they've got that one likely Republican that they won. But now it's up to 3 toss-ups and still kind of winning all of the solids, likelies, and leans. So, I mean, so far, I mean, this is
kind of standard what we thought.
Kind of standard what we thought, maybe a little bit better for Republicans than expected. But I'm not sure. I mean, I think we're going to have to wait till the end to see if that's really the case.
So no waves, no red or blue waves.
No waves. It depends on the definition of a wave. I mean, I think, just, I don't know. A ripple.
Couple ripples.
A blue ripple. Oh.
Red and blue ripple, it's just kind of flatten out.
Yeah.
Turn it.
I was always... every election is, you win by the skin of your teeth. I mean, you're gonna
gnash them, you're gonna skin them.
You're gonna gnash them, you're gonna skin them. But just, I think, again, I think just as long as we live in a democracy, there are significant chunks of the population who just don't see Trump as an existential threat the way we do. I just think that's a fact. I think we need to be clear-headed about that. We might not like that, but the people who disagree with us on this score vote, as is clear. And so I just think we need to. We're not going to win on that. I just think that's the simple fact, and you're not going to get a blue wave just because Trump's an asshole. And just a deeply devious and
I never expected a blue wave personally. I was hoping for the House. That's kind of what I was thinking. There you go.
I have to say I apologize for the pathological metaphysics. a wave versus a ripple. I'm sorry. We should have had a trigger warning. Next time we will definitely have something like that. And peace out, good sirs. Enjoy your evening. How is the movie coming? If you're still here,
He's still on. I think he's gone. I think that was the 6th, and now or 7th went to 6.
Damn. What are we gonna do now?
Did he take from Nevada yet? I guess I should be.
Oh yeah, let's take a look because we are apparently covering this thing. Let me check New York Times. Yeah, nothing. Not a gosh darn thing. I assume you voted for Dean Heller.
I did, of course. I voted all R's, and then threw in none of the above on any chance I could get, and also
see. My strategy was I wrote in myself for all of the races. I believe Brent might be. Are you still there, sir? I think he might be timed out. And while we wait to regain him, let's see what is going on here. So again, there's not much going on. It looks like the Brent, are you there?
Yep, I'm here now.
Okay, cool. What was I gonna say? What was I saying before? I just made a dumb joke. Yeah. I had something to say, but I can't remember. But I think I was telling you earlier, I was super grateful because I took a nap at like 5 a.m.
Right.
Because my plan was to go. I always vote as soon as I can on election, just because I don't want to. In 2016, I got there at like 7 a.m. or whenever the polls opened in Missouri, and there was already a line. I think I waited. It was only like half an hour, so I always like want to get there as soon as I can. And I took a nap, but I like overslept, so I think I got like 2 hours of sleep. And I got there, and I was just. It was so nerve-wracking because it's the first time I did it for the primary, but I'm not used to. I've always done electronic machines. And this was a paper ballot. And it was just all the scantrons I've taken in my entire life prepared for that moment. I was just double checking. I was not in the right frame of mind in order to be. See you later.
Yeah, I just saw that. So
kind of officially. But I was real shaky, and I was excited to get home and to keep working.
Yeah, I don't know how you put that all together.
Man, I just powered through the last. I haven't listened. The last third of it, maybe the last third, because it was a little longer than I expected. Maybe the last third to a quarter. I didn't listen to, because usually I listen to all of it when I'm editing it. And a lot of it you can do visually, because I can kind of see the waveform. I can see like, oh, that's like a breathing in that I can delete or whatever. I did a lot of it visually. I also skipped a lot. It was a lot. The last third or so was a lot less fastidious than I usually do. Just because I wanted to get it out there.
Yeah. I did like the portion of Omni was so, and I do have to admit that I wish that I would have said, what was the thing that was? I did not collude. I did not. Oh, hi, Mulder. But I said, oh, hi, Mark, which did not. Not as good, but I did not. But I love that.
Now you can take ownership of that joke right now.
Okay.
I think and that's perfect.
I just walked through the whole thing right there.
Yep. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. But that would have been better. I'll just I'll go back and I'll re-edit it, but I'll make it like really obvious. Oh hi, Mueller.
Oh, hi, Mueller.
Yeah. That's always the worry with editing those, is just, you worry about just making the cuts too obvious. There was, bringing this back to election, so there was, my mom worked for a guy. She had a really interesting working relationship with this gentleman. He was the father of a family friend. And he was I think he was like, he turned 80. He was like early 80s when she first started working with him. And she originally was his driver. Because he got into like a couple of car accidents in like 2 weeks. Just because he just couldn't see anymore and drive really. So she would drive him around everywhere. And then got to the point where she kind of became almost like a nurse for him. Later on, he actually passed away a few years ago. But he had a guy who cleaned his pools, who was like a Tea Party back when, remember when we had like the Tea Party conservatives.
And you betcha, I do.
And he was always trying. My mom was always trying to like this is what he said. Like I want you to tell me what's wrong with it. Like, not that she agreed with it, she wanted me to like do her thinking for her on this. I just didn't want to deal with it. But the last straw was proof that Obama admitting on video. There's video evidence of Obama admitting that he was born in Kenya. And I was like, all right, bring it on. Let's see what we got here.
You had to prove there wasn't a video out there?
Well, no, so I got a link to this video, and what it was a Obama did that kind of like world tour thing, like right before the election. Right. And it was him speaking to college students in, I believe, Turkey, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just a kind of, just him speaking to students. And literally the video is, it sounded like this. I wasn't born in America. I was born in Kenya. It was just like obvious, like jump cut. And I was like, that's it. I wash my hands of this. I don't want to hear about this guy ever again. Clear deception, clear insanity. And so I kind of miss those days. I miss the Tea Party days.
It was simpler then.
Simpler times. Again, I was telling you, I've been on a nostalgia trip. I've been playing, now that I have one of the reasons I was able to get that episode out so fast is like my new computer is kind of amazing how much faster it is, like running Audacity and doing all those edits. But I can also play like these old games I haven't been able to play in years, like Grand Theft Auto 4, which came out in 2008, and like hearing all the like kind of snarky, kind of satirical political stuff in there. Like, man, like different days.
Yes.
All right,
we should start a MySpace page.
Oh man, bring it back. All right, the house, is kind of doing the same thing. I'm just doing a sanity check. It looks all the numbers are the same right now. It looks like right now it's just more solids, likelies, and leans are getting up there. Nothing very exciting at this point. I mean,
nothing from Nevada yet.
I don't think.
California?
Yeah, I think California is starting to come.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything from California.
What about Arizona?
Good question. Let me check Arizona. What do we got here? So we do have a Senate race right now. It's like 11% reporting in. So it looks like Martha McSally, the Republican, is currently in the lead, 49.3% to 48.5% for Kirsten Sinema. And then Angela Green from the Green Party.
Good time to be a Green, right?
Wow. I mean, I think at that point you have to.
Oh, I just looked at. I guess I didn't realize we had forgotten about Georgia. I was like, oh, whoa, okay. Well, that's horrible.
Oh, I forgot about Georgia too. What's going on there?
May want to put this one on the screen. A little bit of a Nash going on this one.
Woo! Yeah, that ain't good.
Yeah. Could use some of those votes.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's great. Well, Ted Metz, maybe he's got a chance. That's what I'm rooting for.
Ted Metz, come on, buddy.
Come on, Metz. Come on.
0.9%.
Oprah didn't work.
Oprah didn't work. Will Ferrell didn't work. Yeah, that's disappointing too. One interesting, something I want to look into that a lot of the Never Trump people I follow on Twitter, I just follow their writings and whatnot.
Most of the people I follow are Republicans or conservatives, at least. I mean,
yeah, same here.
Yeah,
kind of conservatives and like a lot of national security.
Yep,
people are kind of the main people I tend to follow.
Me too.
And this might be a symptom of it. There's a kind of claim that Republicans have just been better on a local level than Democrats, which I'm curious. I really want to do some like in-depth like research on that to kind of like show, how much more effective the kind of Republican state and local organizations have been compared to Democrats. Now there's also this claim that Republicans have there was a time where they were better at kind of being more local, like in the sense where Democrats tended to kind of nationalize even local races, and there's more kind of homogeneity. So for example, it's natural for example, somebody running for say a state to be like a New York state senator or state rep, to be pro-choice, for example, and to be pro-gay marriage, at a time when that was a more live issue. Whereas you don't see a lot of that. Again, the claim is you don't see a lot of that on the other side, where there's fewer kind of pro-life, for example, Democrats running in local offices in, say, more conservative states. And there's, I don't know. This is speculation. It's something I want to look into. This question about whether or not that's true for a lot of these kind of governor's races, where just there's more Republican infrastructure than Democratic infrastructure, and if that's part of the reason. I don't know. Again, just kind of spitballing here. Yeah, let me look at
3.
In California, some elections, like it looks like we got 2% reporting. So this is the governor. Let me put this up right quick. So again, this is 2%. I highly doubt it's going to remain this way for the governor of California. Just reporting from some kind of weird places in California. Maybe Northern California is coming up sooner. Gavin Newsom, if I'm not mistaken, he's currently the Attorney General of California. He was the mayor of San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to end that way. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah.
And let me.
Still nothing on Nevada.
Yeah, nothing. I don't know what that's about.
Come on, Nevada. Yeah, Nevada went kind of surprisingly blue for the presidential election. Oh, did I see something? Oh no, I thought I saw some numbers start to move in Nevada. No, never mind.
I actually just saw another, just a quick update. It looks like actually another likely R went to the Democrats.
Oh, where at?
Let me see where that's at. Even a deeper one. That's Oklahoma 5.
All right, Okie.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty.
Cool.
Deep in there. That's kind of the most extreme flip so far in the house.
Huh.
Yeah, that's interesting. Lots of other places still out there and about. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So almost all the likely, this is remaining. There's not a lot left. I mean, so let me do some quick math here. So I'm going to do it here. So I'm just going to assume, just for the sake of argument, that the Democrats are going to win all the solids, likelies, and leans, just to make this easier. Because yeah, given that, and given the toss-ups and the two likely R's that they picked up, we're looking at 228, a kind of a 228 minimum. And so again, that would be that's a plus.
That's 10. Enough, obviously.
Yeah, so that's a plus 10 majority in the House, and that's assuming they win all the leans upward, and they lose everything else that's available to lose, which again might not happen. Let's see here. Yeah, I think really over the next few days, I'm kind of looking at. I'm curious what the voting records are going to be in terms of turnout. It's just annoying. Just like people our age don't vote. It's just the simple fact about it. Oh, it's just me. Brent has returned to us. He's returned from the dead.
Yes.
I was just saying, I'm interested in seeing the kind of turnout numbers.
Oh yeah.
To see how they're affecting things. I'm kind of skeptical about it, to be honest.
What do you mean? That turnout helps Dems, or do you mean just?
I'm just skeptical that there was a big turnout increase. I guess is because that was kind of the throughout the night that was a common refrain. Was people saying, "Hey, man, there's lots of people turning out," and again, that was kind of feeding into the whole. It's going to be a wave versus a ripple versus a tsunami. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. Again, I think just most you're not going to change the numbers that extremely. I just think you can't rely on doing it. You gotta be surgical about that kind of stuff.
I think you're right.
All right, let me.
I haven't heard Dasa. I haven't seen Lewis.
So Lewis is actually on the floor right now. I can show people.
Status update there.
Let me. So Lewis is hanging out down on the floor there.
Nice. Going through the bills.
Yeah, he's going through all our bills, making sure they're all legitimate.
He's got a checkbook out with a ledger. It's very good.
He's sleeping on my sweatshirt. Hanging out near their shoes.
Nice.
He's obsessed with shoes.
Yep.
And then let me, if I can. There's Dasa. Dasa is asleep, which is why we're not hearing Dasa right now.
Whoa.
Back to, and you can see lovely Detroit behind me.
Very good.
Quite beautiful. You can see that parking garage across the street. Very exciting.
Yes. You're on the 11th floor, is that correct?
The 11th floor.
Good.
If there's a zombie apocalypse, we'll be perfectly safe.
This is everything's got padding around it except for this, because obviously I just like padding around things. That's all.
You got to pad it. You got to do it.
Just pad all bookshelves.
Yeah, and that's like that's your dedicated recording spot. I've moved around.
It is, yeah.
This is where I
you were
recorded the
you were on the
last
other side.
like 2/3. I was in the closet for many episodes, which was awful and terrible. Probably didn't actually help very much. But yeah, but so I don't know how you're feeling. I think we basically know.
We know everything except for my home state in California that I care about. No, I think it's interesting to scroll and see the election results. It's like 100, 0, and 0, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we know, Democrats take the House, Republicans added a few to the Senate. I think at this point, the main thing we don't know the breakdown for governors and kind of local elections, and we don't know, how extreme, again, the kind of Senate, the Republican Senate gains and the Democrat House gains are going to be.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of, in the wash. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe a week from now, maybe not. Well, we can do kind of a follow-up to kind of like dig into like the turnout stuff. And there's also Alaska. What's going on in Alaska? I think they're the last polls to close.
15 minutes ago, Trump tweets out, "Tremendous success tonight. Thank you all."
Thank you all.
And then a bunch of congratulations. And
I can't do that anymore. I'm not a white supremacist. My fiance was always because she does that, like that was her, because that used to just mean like, okay, like good. And she did it all the time, and she discovered recently about how it's like a white supremacist symbol. She's like really upset about it. Terrible. It's terrible. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of, we didn't have to gnash our teeth too much, just a little bit.
No.
I was definitely gnashing them more vigorously earlier in the evening. That's definitely true, especially when that kind of House, that the 538 thing kind of flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two watching. Who are you? Reveal yourselves.
Two people left. It's probably us at this point. Oh, but now it's free. It could be a ghost. It could be like unfriended.
It could be. Yes. I have not watched that, but would.
It's actually, it's clever. It's
okay. Isn't it all like you're looking at a computer?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that right? Okay.
And so I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed given that conceit. It's not Kurosawa.
Yeah. It's not Andrew Tarkovsky.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was impressed. It was clever. I'll say that.
That's cool.
But I think that's all for us tonight. Just a little personal plug. Our latest episode is out. Kind of a miracle of editing and caffeine and adrenaline, I think. And you can find us on SoundCloud or wherever you get your podcasts. That's None Dare Call It Ordinary. And it's our third episode, our third installment of our Russia investigation series. And the fourth one hopefully will be up in a week. We're trying to, now that I don't have a regular job, I think we're going to try to really stick to more closely to a weekly schedule. We are on Twitter at NDCIO. We're on Instagram at None Dare Call It Ordinary. You can email us at nonedarecallitordinary@gmail.com. We have a website, nonedarecallitordinary.com. And with that, we bid you good night and farewell.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.